All right, guys, obviously I'm kidding around. You don't need all of this crap to go into your motorcycle to have a good roadside toolkit. And today I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to have on your motorcycle to get yourself back home in one piece if you end up breaking down, because it's coming for everybody. Now I know what you're getting ready to say. You're getting ready to say, Self, I don't need to watch this video. My motorcycle already has a toolkit right under the seat, or maybe it's under a panel, just like it is on this Royal Enfield here, where we have this nice little toolkit. It's actually a lot nicer than you might see on other motorcycles. Surely this thing right here has everything that I would need to get back on the road. No, it really doesn't. Unfortunately, most manufacturer tool rolls that you get with your motorcycle are just good enough to get you to the point where you realize you don't have the right tools to get back on the road. So today, I'm going to show you how I built my tool roll and how you can get started building one of your own. So guys, when you're looking at a toolkit for your motorcycle, there's a lot of things that you want to consider, and specifically the one thing I want to put in your head right out of the gate is the caveat that no matter what toolkit you buy, it is not going to be perfect right out of the box for your motorcycle. I've ridden a lot of different bikes with a lot of different stuff in their toolkits, and not one of them has had everything you need to get your motorcycle back on the road. So what I've got here are a couple of assortments of toolkits that you're going to find out in the wild, and I'm going to show you exactly what I've put into my toolkit, as well as a few other handy dandy things that you're going to want to have on hand just in case. So let's start out today with what came with our Royal Enfield right here. Honestly, when I opened up this toolkit, I was surprised at how much stuff you actually have in here. You've got your usual stuff like a screwdriver, which the handle gets stuck inside the tool roll. And I also want to point out, Royal Enfield, nice job on the tool roll. This is actually a solid thing that I would want to see on just about any motorcycle. Really good job on a motorcycle that costs a lot less than some fancier bikes with. You've got yourself a really nice big Allen key with a whole bunch of smaller Allen keys inside. You've got a 12, 10, and no 14 wrench. That's a bit of a bummer. I would have liked to have seen a 14. Looks like, there it is. There's our 14, which is not in a wrench. It's in this open box situation. And a 24. Betcha this 24 is for the axles. I would not specifically want to use this tool to try and break loose an axle on a motorcycle. This whole situation, that's not really going to work. You have some extenders here. That's what these are. You've also got a socket on the end of this so you can plug this guy in there and get some extra torque down on it. And then you have a preload spanner. Every motorcycle should have a preload spanner. Although if you bought yours used, chances are you don't even have a toolkit. You should get yourself a factory preload spanner. These things are really nice to have. Now, as far as stuff that comes in this toolkit, I would rate this as above average, but not acceptable. This is, again, a great toolkit to get to the point where you can realize I don't have enough to solve whatever problem I'm having on my motorcycle. Which is a real shame, because if you break down, you don't want to bust the toolkit out, take your motorcycle apart, and realize, oh, dang it, I got to put it all back together and call the tow truck. So let's move on to my toolkit that I have with a lot more specific stuff. I would highly recommend, guys, use your manufacturer's toolkit as a starting place. You're going to want to replace all of this stuff with actual proper tools, which is what I have done here. This is actually a Kriega tool roll, which you can pick up, and it doesn't come with anything in it. It's a blank canvas for you to do with what you will. So what do we have in here? I've got myself an adjustable crescent wrench. These things, they're not great, but in a pinch, they work really, really well, and they're a much nicer solution than having to carry a whole bunch of individual size wrenches. So I would really recommend getting one of these. You don't want to use it when you're actually working on your motorcycle, but if you find yourself on the side of the road, one of these can come in real handy. I have my usual reversible screwdriver. Exact same that you would find in the Royal Enfield. I really like having these around because while they're not the best and the machining on the tool could use some work, it will work in a pinch. Then I have some Torxes, because you never know when you're going to encounter some Torx. These are also locking, the anti-tamper Torx. Really handy to have. Again, you never know when you're going to encounter some Torx bits on your bike. Then I have supplemented my usual slate of Allen wrenches with T-handles. These are so much nicer to have, and I have the usual common sizes that you would find on my KLR. Something we're going to talk about later is building the kit for your particular motorcycle. So I've got a 5, I've got a 4, and I've got a 3. The 3 is actually bent so that I can get it into some tighter spots because the T-handles are a little bit long. And then I've got my usual little Allen keys sitting in there. Tire pressure gauge, super handy to have one of these. Make sure you get a nice one though. Don't just go to like your average gas station and pick one up. Get a real one. Then something that you're not going to see in any toolkit is a really nice ratcheting wrench. I went and bought a little Husky ratcheting wrench to put in my toolkit, and this thing lives here, and it is so much nicer to have one of these than any other little like cheapo thing that you're going to find online. Highly recommend having one of those, and to go with it, I have all of the matching sockets. I also carry with me some Loctite because I ride a KLR. This stuff is for my throttle lock. And then lastly, I carry a whole bunch of fuses. I've got 20 amps, I've got 10 amps, and I've got 7.5 amp fuses. A lot of your motorcycles will have fuses in the fuse box, some spares, but just always nice to have. Now this is my particular toolkit, and I've built mine over a few years and a few months of actually riding and knowing what I need to do and when I want to tap out on a motorcycle. But let's take a look at something that you're going to be able to buy off the shelf and see where we might need to upgrade it. Now here I have a pre-assembled toolkit from Cruise Tools that you can pick up down below on shop.yammynoob.co. This is designed specifically for Harley Davidsons. There are ones that are designed for metric. They're just a lot more general. Sometimes you're going to need to add some stuff like Torx wrenches or whatever. But this one here is specific for all you Harley boys out there. So it's got a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be really nice if you're riding around on a big old American real bike. So let's dive in and check out what's in here. While I am opening this toolkit up though, I do want to point out the fact that while we sell this on shop.yammynoob.co, you can click that link down below, get this for your Harley or get a metric one for your metric bike, and every dollar you spend is an entry to win all of our giveaway bikes and all that cool stuff. No matter what toolkit you buy, if it's one of these prefab ones, it's not gonna be complete. This is a starting point. I just want to be very clear about that. This is a starting point. Now let's open this thing up and see what we got. So, nice, we have a little shop rag in there. That's always cool to see. And I'm looking at this and I'm seeing a suite of actually good looking tools, which is really nice. We've got a set of vice grips in here. We have 5 zip ties. That is not enough zip ties. We do have some safety wire in here, which is cool. You could definitely wire some stuff down, but you need more zip ties. 5 is not enough. We've got electric tape, and we actually have a spark plug gapper, which is pretty cool. You don't see these around a lot, and I'm not entirely sure why you'd want to pull your plugs out mid-ride, but hey, you can do that now. You've got a spark plug gapper here. It says it's made in the United States. That's nice. The only problem with this is if you're using a spark plug gapper, do not use the tool itself to pull the spark plug gap. You actually want to use this gap opener right here, not this side, because this is specifically machined and you don't want to ruin that. So if you're going to actually try to gap your plugs, you need to use the actual tool here. We've got a whole bunch of Allen keys and Torx wrenches here. Very nice to see. This is actually a lot of different sizes. And it's super cool that they included the Torx because you do encounter a lot of Torxes on Harleys, which is a little bit of a surprise. We've got all kinds of wrenches and so forth. These are actually, this one's a 10 mil. Interesting because sometimes you're going to encounter a smattering of SAE and metric. Oh, there we go, SAE 9/16. What we got here? That's 3/8. 1/2, 7/16. So those are probably your average sizes that you're gonna find on an air-cooled Harley, would be my guess. Then we have a tool that everybody hates, this adjustable crescent wrench. Very nice to have, and this one's actually even bigger than mine. It's an 8-inch handle, get a little bit more torque on it. Ah, love to see it. Love to see it. An actual ratcheting wrench and all of the adjustable ratchet sizes and a little extender. Very nice. Big old 5/8. This is for pulling the spark plugs if you need to get them off your bike. Again, I'm not entirely sure why you would want to pull them mid-ride, but if you do, you've got a deep socket 5/8 for your spark plugs. Tire pressure gauge. So this I would rate really well. This is actually a really nice toolkit right out of the box with pretty much everything that you're going to need to do most things on your motorcycle. However, there are some things that I would like to see in here that aren't here that you should add. I'm thinking spare fuses. I would put an SAE lead on your motorcycle if it doesn't have one already, so that you can have something like a tire pump. I would also include a patch kit in here. There is nothing to talk about actually patching up your tires. And I would also just put in a little bit of duct tape because electrical tape's not the best. Otherwise, this is a solid little toolkit. Let's see here. Can we flip this around? Yep, there's our flathead. This comes out, and we've got smaller ones too. Man, this is actually kind of nice. Very solid little toolkit. I like this a lot. But again, like I said, doesn't have every single tool you're going to need, but a very solid starting place. All right, now it is time to talk every gym rat's favorite subject, and that is supplements. These are things that we are going to throw in alongside the toolkit so you can do more than just take panels off your bike and screw things back in place. This is stuff that's going to help get you back on the road in case you start losing fluids or losing tire pressure or all that good stuff. So let's start off with fluids. I ride a KLR. These things burn oil all the time. It's a known quantity with these bikes. Yeah, I've got the thermal bob on there and it's supposed to not do it, but it still does it anyway. So I carry some extra motor oil. I only carry about a quart because I only need about a quart to just in case. I'm not planning on dropping all the oil out of my motorcycle. At that point, it is time to call a tow truck. The next thing I would highly recommend having, we talked about that SAE lead to throw on your motorcycle. The reason why is something like this. In this little bag here, I have a battery-powered tire inflator. This thing runs off of your motorcycle. I've got the little pinch clips here, and I also have an SAE lead in here that will plug right into the battery. I can't tell you the number of times this tiny little air pump has saved me on-road, off-road, period, full stop, end of story. Highly recommend throwing one of these on your motorcycle. This was like 40 bucks too, by the way, guys. It's not particularly powerful and it will take a little while, but I mean, it's a remote tire inflator. You don't have to sit there with like a bicycle pump, or you don't have to go to a gas station to get the little CO2 cartridges. You just have this running off your bike. So useful. It's also got a little flashlight. Just go buy one. The next thing I would talk about are patch kits. Unfortunately, we don't have any here to show, but we're going to show you some pictures here on the side. The first type of patch kit that you're going to find are this old school bacon strips. Those are basically your rope plugs. You're basically going to be fine with just about any kind of puncture you're going to encounter on a motorcycle. You're going to be fine with a rope plug. These things work really, really well. They're almost permanent. They're not really permanent. They're just supposed to get you to the next tire store, but I've ridden on rope plugs before when I wasn't supposed to, and they work fine. Your mileage may vary though. I do want to point that out there. The next type you're going to find are spear plugs. Now these are the type I normally carry. However, my KLR is tubed, so I can't use spear plugs. They don't work on a tubed tire. These things are super easy. You pull the nail out or whatever, you poke the spear in and you're done. Super, super, super simple. They don't work great on big punctures. Then you're going to want something like a rope plug, but they do work well enough to get you back on the road really quickly, and you might not even lose that much air out of your tire. The last kind are those big like marshmallow style plugs. They're a right royal pain in the ass to use. I haven't used them specifically because of that Fortnite video you're probably thinking of right now, but I have had some buddies who use them, who carry them on their motorcycles because they don't require any adhesive or anything like that. They're terrible looking pieces of kit. I wouldn't get one. They look like a giant pain in the ass. Just use the spear plugs or the rope plugs. They work great and they're super cheap. The only problem, they're not super temperature stable. So if you're somewhere in Texas where it's really, really hot, you're probably not going to want to store them on your motorcycle. You'd store them inside and then take them out with you. The last thing I want to talk about is for you people on big adventure bikes or dual sports with tube tires. Bring some spoons, bring some spare tubes, and learn how to use them. You're going to want to be able to change a tire off on the trail just in case, because if you get a pinch flat or something on your tire, you're not going to be able to limp that thing home. Definitely worth having some spare tubes, and absolutely worth knowing how to use them, especially if you're going out on some trails. You do not want to get stranded without that. And you can pack them really nice and tight and fit them on most fenders for your bike. So if you're worried about storage space, your fender actually works really well. Now, speaking of storage space, I wanted to take a second and talk about where you're going to store all this crap on your bike. So storing all this stuff on your motorcycle can be a bit of a pain in the butt. If you're not like me and you don't have an Adventure Dad motorcycle with big panniers with room for all of this extra crap plus a MotoGP pit crew, you're going to need to find yourself a nice storage solution. Thankfully, Nelson Rig, which you can see all those bags over there, and adorning our lovely giveaway Z900 here, have great options that are universal for all kinds of motorcycles, and they come in all shapes and sizes. So if you wanted something nice and small to hold your toolkit, your patch kit, your plugs, whatever you need, you can store it on your bike really, really easily. And I highly recommend riding with one of these. I actually used to ride with that very same bag that's on the back of the Z900 here on my Interceptor. It was really, really nice, and it could hold up to a full face helmet if you got really clever and stuffed it in there good. So I would highly recommend checking these things out so you can store a toolkit. The last piece of advice I want to leave you with is this. You could have the very best toolkit in the world assembled by Ari Henning himself, and it would not matter one bit if you did not know how to use it. So when you go ahead and assemble this toolkit, take some time and practice doing jobs on your motorcycle using that toolkit. Try inflating your tires with the tire inflator. Keep some old rubber around so you can practice patching it. It's a really nice thing to have these skills. Even if you never end up using them in the real world, you need to practice on them, you need to use them, and you need to develop them because they are use it or lose it skills. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And then eventually, when you do need to bust out the toolkit, you'll know exactly what to do. Now, I hope this video has helped you out. You can check all the toolkits and stuff that we talked about today down on shop.yammynoob.co, along with these Nelson Rig bags to hold all of it. All of that is available on shop.yammynoob.co, where every dollar you spend is an entry to win. I highly recommend developing a toolkit for your motorcycle using one of these base kits as a starting point. It's really handy to have, and just in case you do end up breaking down out in the wild, you can get yourself back on the road. Now, until the next episode of Yammy Noob, I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Keep watching Yammy Noob!